Alright, so real quick, time for another devlog. This is the first devlog for Maximus Takeover, which this project's moving slower than Rise is, but it's still happening. As you can see, the screen resolution overall is, not the screen resolution, the screen size is overall wider, and the resolution is better. You can see the sprites are more detailed. But here we have the first playable character, Usurper. Now you can see all the characters' health bars are a bit too low right now. I will fix that. That's not a constant thing. It will be fixed almost immediately. It's just in this state because that's how it was in Rise, and we're using Rise as a base for this, obviously with many improvements. Number one improvement is hitboxes and hurtboxes are now separated, which that's a big deal considering how clunky Rise was. If you've played Rise, you know the problems. But these are the Chaos Minions, you know, the mini-bosses from Stage 3 in Rise. And they are the most common enemy in this game. Now, they have less health now. They have 60, which is more than the standard, than like the weakest enemies in Rise, which was 30. But that's because you have a lot more moves now, and overall are capable of a lot more carnage. So first thing, let's go ahead and demo Usurper's moves. He has a 3-hit combo like Zamba did at the end of Rise's development. That's his first move. Second thing he does is the swing move with his chain, which you do by pressing the L key, and which the L key was tied to mounts in Rise, and mounts aren't a thing in Takeover. Now his other move you'd press with the K key is a spin, similar to Envoy's spin. Now, I know that there's a hitbox at the bottom where his feet are, but I mean, like, the effects at his feet, but it's really only at arm level where the hitbox is. Now, his next move is you press J and K at the same time, and he'll do the jump move that he did in Rise. Now, it's not as good now as it was in Rise, but it's there if you want to use it. I do think it'll be his worst move overall, but eh. And the interesting thing, you see that 100 in the top left? That's the current beta version of the Supercharge, because characters in Takeover have supers. Let's go ahead and demo Usurpers real quick. It's the laser beam, of course, because why wouldn't it be the laser beam? That's the most powerful move he did in Rise. Now, it does go in both directions, the laser beam does. And if I go all the way to the left, you can see the laser beam doesn't go full screen like it did in Rise. But, I mean, it basically goes full screen. If you're anywhere but all the way to the left, it's going to hit every enemy horizontally. So it doesn't really matter too much. And you can see the sprite for Usurper is so much better than it was in Rise. You can see the sprite for Chaos Minion is so much better than in Rise. The walking animation for the playables is so much better than in Rise. A lot of things are better than they were in Rise. It's overall a much better engine than, not engine, but a much better, it's built on the same engine as Rise Game Maker, but, it's overall a much better thing than Rise was. It's much closer to what Rise should have been. So it's the first devlog for Takeover, and just like the first few devlogs of Rise, don't expect too much progress initially. This one's been baking for like a week and a half now, probably even longer actually. But this is the first devlog for Takeover. Don't have a title screen yet. Don't have any other playable characters. Don't even have stages done yet. Haven't even started work on stages. Just getting the basic mechanics working. But I have proven that they can work. Meaning I'm going to start work on the second level in Takeover instead of the first. You see, the first level in Takeover is pretty cinematic and stuff, with a lot of non-traditional gameplay aspects. So I'm going to be working on Stage 2 first, as it's a much more traditional level, and thus tests the game much better. And that's going to be the version that gets the first beta release. Beta release-wise, the first public beta will consist of Stage 2, just Stage 2, and 2 playable characters, nothing else. There will not be any updated betas like there was for Rise 1. It'll just be that, and then once I finish the full game goes up. I expect to have this game finished sometime after M2 releases, just because of how much longer this is going to take than Rise. This is a much beefier project. Planned stage total at the moment is 7 instead of 5. So, yeah. Alright, see ya, I guess. That's the thing I say at all the end of the Rise devlogs. Yeah.